Were you aware that the life of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who played a pivotal role in authorizing the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, concluded in a manner both enigmatic and deeply tragic? Picture bearing the burden of one of history's most controversial decisions, only to endure the weight of its consequences in utter silence and isolation. Pontius Pilate, who served as the Roman governor of Judea, is a figure whose life and actions are chronicled in both historical documents and religious texts. But what truly became of Pilate after the events of that monumental and fateful day? This narrative weaves together elements from biblical scripture, historical accounts, and enduring traditions to piece together his story. Pilate's role is documented extensively in the four Gospels of the New Testament, which vividly detail both his initial reluctance and his ultimate decision to order the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The Gospels, Matthew 27, Mark 15, Luke 23, and John 18 and 19, recount Pilate's interactions with Jesus, alongside the immense pressure he faced from the Jewish religious leaders. Additional insight into Pilate's governance and character can be gleaned from the works of prominent figures like the Jewish historian Flavius Josephus and the Roman philosopher Philo of Alexandria, both of whom provide valuable historical context. By synthesizing these diverse sources, we gain a more comprehensive understanding of Pilate's multifaceted character and his pivotal role in the crucifixion of Jesus. To truly grasp Pilate's story, one must delve into the events chronicled in the sacred scriptures, while also considering the intricate political and social dynamics that defined his era. Stay tuned as we unravel the fascinating yet unsettling tale of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who played a critical role in determining the fate of Jesus Christ. Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor overseeing Judea, found himself caught in a profound and perilous dilemma. The Jewish religious authorities were insistent on the crucifixion of Jesus, leveling accusations of blasphemy against him. Yet Pilate, after examining the case, declared that he found no fault or crime in Jesus. John 18:38. Pilate made repeated efforts to secure Jesus' release, even proposing that Jesus be set free as part of the customary pardon of a prisoner during Passover. Despite his attempts, the crowd overwhelmingly demanded the release of Barabbas, a known criminal, instead of Jesus. Matthew 27:15-26. Reluctantly bowing to the mob's fervor, Pilate ceremonially washed his hands to signify his attempt to absolve himself of guilt and then handed Jesus over for crucifixion. Matthew 27:24. This dramatic act was Pilate's symbolic way of distancing himself from the moral and legal responsibility of condemning Jesus to death. Over the centuries, this action has become a poignant symbol of weakness and the failure to uphold justice, forever etched into history. Additionally, the gospel accounts reveal that Pilate attempted several strategies to placate the crowd, such as having Jesus scourged, likely hoping that this severe but lesser punishment might appease the Jewish leaders and avoid crucifixion. Luke 23:16. This pivotal moment not only determined Jesus' destiny, but also set into motion a chain of events that would lead to Pilate's downfall and ensure his actions remained a subject of intense scrutiny and debate throughout the ages. Pilate, being a seasoned governor, was acutely aware of the volatile political climate that pervaded the region of Judea. The city of Jerusalem, teeming with activity during the Passover festivities, was abuzz with the presence of Jesus, whom many regarded as a prophet, drawing even greater attention and tension. The religious authorities escalated their accusations, charging Jesus with inciting rebellion against Roman rule, an allegation serious enough to warrant execution under Roman law. Luke 23:2. Pilate found himself in a truly challenging and complex situation. If Pilate chose to set Jesus free, he risked inciting an uprising among the Jewish people. If Pilate decided to condemn him, he would be sanctioning the execution of someone he personally believed to be innocent. In order to prevent an uprising, Pilate ultimately gave in to their demands. He had no idea at the time that this choice would weigh heavily on his conscience for the remainder of his life. While Scripture offers no explicit account of Pilate's inner thoughts, his actions reveal a man grappling with intense pressure as he struggled to reconcile the demands of justice with the imperative to preserve public order. Historical accounts and traditions suggest that the gravity of this decision left an indelible mark on Pilate, haunting him for the rest of his life. Maintaining order in regions like Judea during Roman times demanded a careful and skillful balancing of authority, as any perceived weakness could be quickly exploited by Rome's adversaries. Pilate found himself entangled in an extraordinarily complex situation where every possible decision carried the risk of triggering significant political unrest and social turmoil. During the proceedings against Jesus, Pilate's wife, Claudia, experienced a deeply troubling dream. She urgently sent a message to Pilate, pleading with him to avoid involvement in condemning that righteous man, as recorded in Matthew 27:19. This enigmatic dream, mentioned solely in the Gospel of Matthew, remains mysterious in both its origin and deeper significance. Some biblical scholars and interpreters have proposed that this dream may have been a divine intervention aimed at averting the crucifixion of Jesus. Claudia, though briefly mentioned in the Bible, plays a significant role in underscoring the profound moral quandary Pilate faced during this critical moment. Claudia was deeply tormented by the dream, convinced that it was a warning from a higher power about the dire consequences of condemning Jesus. Pilate's decision to dismiss this ominous warning would ultimately become a haunting regret, tormenting him for the remainder of his life. In later Christian traditions, Claudia was venerated as a saint by certain denominations, a testament to the importance attributed to her role in the narrative of Christ's passion. Claudia is often seen by interpreters as a symbolic representation of the inner voice of conscience, seeking to intervene during moments of profound moral conflict. The unsettling nature of her dream introduces a supernatural element to the story, implying that events during Jesus' trial were influenced by forces beyond human understanding. Following Pilate's decree, Jesus was subjected to crucifixion, a punishment reserved for the most severe offenders under Roman law. Above Jesus on the cross was placed an inscription written in 3 languages: Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, as noted in John 19:19. The trilingual inscription, written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek, was Pilate's way of asserting the charge against Jesus, that he claimed to be a king, a crime viewed as treason against Caesar. As Jesus endured the suffering of the cross, Pilate was left wrestling with profound doubts and the growing weight of his guilt. The crucifixion of Jesus stands as one of the most pivotal and defining events described in the Gospels. The Gospels offer vivid descriptions of this event, detailing the reactions of onlookers and supernatural occurrences like the midday darkness and the tearing of the temple veil. Matthew 27:45-51. These extraordinary signs would have further intensified Pilate's internal torment, as they seem to testify to Jesus' divine nature and innocence. The biblical narrative portrays the crucifixion as not merely a historical event, but a cosmic clash between the forces of good and evil, underscoring its spiritual significance. Historically, crucifixion was a form of punishment reserved for the most heinous criminals, meant to serve as a public display of both shame and excruciating suffering. Pilate's ultimate decision to authorize such a brutal form of execution, despite his evident hesitation, highlights the intense pressures and the politically fraught environment he navigated during this critical juncture. Following the crucifixion, Pilate was consumed by an obsession with the decision he had rendered, unable to escape the shadow it cast over his life. He could not shake the realization that he had been swayed and manipulated by the religious leaders in the crowd, a thought that gnawed relentlessly at his conscience. The powerful words spoken by Jesus on the cross, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do," continued to resonate in Pilate's mind. Luke 23:34. Each passing day only intensified Pilate's guilt, to the point where it became an unbearable burden on his mind and soul. While the Bible does not offer explicit insight into Pilate's emotions after these events, the psychological toll of his choice is a plausible conclusion, given the monumental gravity of his actions. According to Christian tradition, Pilate was never able to overcome the immense weight of responsibility he bore for condemning Jesus, a burden that profoundly shaped the remainder of his life. Apocryphal texts and extra-canonical traditions, including those preserved by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, expand on Pilate's torment, often depicting him as a man consumed and ultimately destroyed by his guilt. Pilate's symbolic act of washing his hands proved futile in alleviating his moral burden, and he was likely haunted daily by vivid recollections of the events surrounding that fateful day. Intriguingly, Ethiopian Orthodox tradition suggests that Pilate eventually embraced Christianity, fully acknowledging his guilt and seeking redemption, a claim that, while captivating, remains speculative and is not widely accepted. The guards stationed at Jesus' tomb came forward with an astonishing claim. They reported that he had risen. Matthew 28, 4-15. This news caused great alarm among the Jewish leaders and deeply unsettled Pilate as well. In an effort to suppress the truth, Pilate resorted to bribing the guards, instructing them to circulate a fabricated story. Matthew 28, 12-15. However, the astonishing news of Jesus' resurrection spread rapidly, adding to Pilate's inner turmoil and sense of despair. The resurrection stands as the cornerstone of Christian belief, firmly established in the Gospels and reinforced by New Testament writings like 1 Corinthians 15, 3-8. For Pilate, the reality of the resurrection presented a profound crisis of legitimacy. If Jesus truly rose, it confirmed his divine nature and exposed the devastating truth that Pilate had sanctioned the death of an innocent man. Pilate's efforts to conceal the resurrection reveal his desperate struggle to preserve both public order and his own sense of sanity in the face of events that defied both reason and Roman authority. In the years that followed, the rapid spread of Christianity, with countless Jews and Gentiles embracing the faith, magnified the profound significance of the resurrection and intensified the implications of Pilate's choice. These attempts to suppress the truth of the resurrection illustrate the persistent clash between the temporal authority of the Roman Empire and the growing spiritual power of the Christian movement. Emperor Tiberius, ruling at the time, was presented with conflicting accounts of the events unfolding in Judea, leaving him uncertain about the full truth. Pilate's position as governor had become increasingly unstable as he faced numerous accusations of brutality and a blatant disregard for Jewish customs, which had already earned him widespread unpopularity. Historical accounts from Flavius Josephus and Philo of Alexandria paint Pilate as a harsh and uncompromising ruler whose actions frequently incited outrage among the Jewish people. Among Pilate's more infamous actions was his use of sacred temple funds to construct an aqueduct, a decision that sparked significant protests and indignation from the Jewish population. Matters came to a head when Pilate was summoned back to Rome to answer for his controversial actions as governor of Judea. Pilate's downfall was ultimately precipitated by a violent incident involving the killing of Samaritans on Mount Gerizim, an act that led directly to his removal from office. This incident, compounded by widespread disapproval of his administration, prompted Lucius Vitellius, the governor of Syria, to recall Pilate to Rome for further scrutiny. In Rome, Pilate underwent a thorough and rigorous investigation, effectively bringing his once promising political career to a humiliating end. Pilate's actions in Judea not only had severe personal consequences, but also left a lasting and tumultuous impact on the province he once governed. The political instability that marked Pilate's tenure and eventual removal underscores the challenges inherent in Roman provincial governance, where maintaining imperial authority frequently conflicted with respecting local traditions and the people's desire for autonomy. Upon his return to Rome, Pilate endured a detailed and grueling investigation, as Emperor Tiberius was incensed over the turmoil Pilate's governance had incited in Judea. Seizing this moment of vulnerability, Pilate's political adversaries capitalized on the opportunity to discredit and undermine him further. Pilate was formally stripped of his position and banished, effectively ending his influence in standing within the empire. Pilate's wife, Claudia, remained plagued by recurring nightmares, while Pilate, overtaken by guilt and despair, withdrew from public life, sinking into isolation. According to tradition, Pilate was spared a formal trial, but was nonetheless compelled to retire from public service in disgrace. Various apocryphal writings, including the Acts of Pilate, provide alternate accounts of his later years, frequently portraying him as a man steeped in regret and seeking redemption. The circumstances of Pilate's death remain veiled in mystery, with numerous traditions offering conflicting and speculative accounts of his final days. Regardless of the exact details, History portrays Pilate as a deeply conflicted figure whose decisions left an indelible mark on his own life and on the broader course of history. The investigation Pilate faced in Rome likely scrutinized his inability to sustain peace in his contentious administrative practices, highlighting the intricate dynamics of power and political maneuvering that defined the Roman Empire. Once a powerful and commanding figure, Pilate spent his final days powerless and disgraced, an ironic and tragic outcome for a man who had prioritized his position over justice. The circumstances surrounding the death of Pontius Pilate remain clouded in mystery and speculation. Certain historical narratives propose that Pilate took his own life, overwhelmed by the crushing guilt of his decisions and the disgrace of his forced exile. Eusebius of Caesarea, a prominent 4th century church historian, records that Pilate ended his life by suicide during the reign of Emperor Caligula. Other historical sources, like those of the Roman historian Tacitus, remain silent on the specifics of Pilate's death, leaving the matter unresolved. Christian tradition offers differing accounts of Pilate's final days, with some suggesting he experienced a profound conversion to Christianity before his death. A legend widely circulated during the medieval and Renaissance periods and featured in works like the Golden Legend, recounts that Pilate died by suicide while exiled in Gaul, with his body being discarded in a river. Regardless of the varying accounts, Pilate's death is universally viewed as a tragic conclusion to the life of a man who played a pivotal role in the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The blend of historical facts, religious traditions, and speculative legends about Pilate's death underscores the multifaceted and enigmatic legacy he has left in collective memory. Over the centuries, Pilate's story has served as a lens through which themes of guilt, redemption, and the pursuit of justice have been examined and reflected upon. If the accounts of his suicide are accurate, it represents a final desperate act of remorse, while stories of his conversion offer a glimpse of hope and a possible attempt to seek forgiveness. These varied accounts reveal the challenges of disentangling historical facts from myth when analyzing figures deeply intertwined with events of profound religious and moral importance. Pilate has been enshrined in Christian history as a symbol of moral failure, forming a black legend of cowardice and complicity. He is frequently depicted as a feeble and easily swayed figure, unable to summon the courage to stand by what he believed to be just. The trajectory of Pilate's life and the manner of his death serve as a sobering reminder of how our choices can reverberate through time and the dangers of succumbing to external pressures. The Gospel accounts depict Pilate as a Roman governor who, despite his acknowledgement of Jesus' innocence, capitulated to the demands of the fervent crowd. Over the centuries, Christian tradition has vilified Pilate's memory, although some apocryphal writings attempt to portray him in a slightly more understanding light. Pilate's wavering and ultimate decision have fueled endless theological and historical discussions, emphasizing the deep moral and ethical intricacies of his role in the crucifixion narrative. The cautionary tale of Pilate as a black legend warns against the perils of prioritizing societal pressure over the unyielding pursuit of justice and truth. Pilate is frequently likened to other historical figures who confronted analogous moral quandaries, and his narrative is employed to stress the necessity of courage and moral fortitude in Christian teachings. During Holy Week, Pilate's role is commemorated as a solemn reminder of how cowardice and the failure to uphold justice can lead to profound and far-reaching consequences. The tragic story of Pontius Pilate also provides a rich foundation for profound theological reflection. Pilate had the unparalleled opportunity to stand before the Son of God himself, yet he failed to recognize the truth that was directly in front of him. His failure to make a just decision serves as a timeless illustration of the inherent fallibility of human nature. The account of Pilate's actions compels us to reflect on the choices we make and whether we possess the courage to stand by the truth, even when it is difficult. The account of Pilate's actions compels us to reflect on the choices we make and whether we possess the courage to stand by the truth, even when it is difficult. Pilate's symbolic act of washing his hands has been interpreted as an outward expression of a guilty conscience, attempting to evade moral accountability. In many sermons, Pilate's story is used to emphasize the critical importance of demonstrating moral courage and upholding integrity, especially in moments of crisis. Pilate's narrative serves as a powerful reminder that when confronted with challenging decisions, we must choose justice, no matter the potential personal repercussions. In Christian theology, Pilate symbolizes the ongoing battle between good and evil, with his inability to recognize or act on the truth about Jesus standing as a cautionary tale against moral indifference. Pilate's story invites us to engage in deep self-reflection, urging us to evaluate our own hearts and strive to live by the principles of truth and justice in all our actions. Over the centuries, Pilate has emerged as a central and enduring figure in countless works of art and literature. The moral and psychological struggle Pilate experienced, along with his involvement in Jesus' crucifixion, has captivated artists and writers, inspiring diverse interpretations for generations. From the sacred art of the medieval period to contemporary literature, Pilate has been depicted in a multitude of ways, showcasing the evolving perspectives of each era. In works like The Gospel According to Jesus Christ by José Saramago and The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov, Pilate is presented as a deeply layered character, struggling to reconcile his sense of duty with his moral convictions. In visual art, Pilate is frequently portrayed during the moment of Jesus' condemnation, his face capturing a spectrum of emotions ranging from doubt to reluctant resignation. These cultural portrayals demonstrate Pilate's lasting influence on the collective imagination, underscoring his importance both historically and theologically. Pilate is also a recurring figure in depictions of the Via Crucis, where his role prompts reflections on the themes of power, justice, and the human condition. Pilate's character has been explored in theater and film as well, with many interpretations focusing on the profound moral dilemmas that defined his story. The rich complexity of Pilate's character provides a canvas for artists and writers to delve into universal themes like the abuse of power, the burden of responsibility, and the possibility of redemption. Within Christian tradition, Pontius Pilate is frequently recalled during Holy Week, as his actions played a critical role in the events leading up to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Pilate's presence is invoked in sermons and dramatizations of the Passion, where his role as a conflicted authority figure is deeply examined. Pilate is often portrayed as a prime example of how moral weakness and injustice can result in catastrophic consequences. Pilate is specifically named in the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, which declares that Jesus suffered under Pontius Pilate, cementing his historical role in the salvation narrative. The mention of Pilate in the Creed underscores the significant part he played in the unfolding of the Christian story of redemption and salvation. During Easter observances, Pilate's story is often used as a teaching tool, highlighting the perils of injustice and the consequences of lacking moral courage in critical moments. The memory of Pilate stands as a stark reminder of the lasting repercussions of human choices and the vital importance of pursuing justice and truth, regardless of the challenges. In numerous Christian traditions, Pilate is closely linked with the notion of unjust judgment, and his narrative is frequently employed to convey the value of upholding justice and righteousness. In certain liturgical prayers, Pilate is referenced as an emblem of human frailty, illustrating the necessity of divine grace to help us confront and overcome moral dilemmas. Pilate's life and the tragic conclusion of his story impart essential lessons about the weight of responsibility and the enduring importance of integrity. Pilate was presented with a momentous opportunity to alter the course of history, but ultimately chose the path of least resistance, prioritizing convenience over conviction. His narrative serves as a powerful reminder that our choices carry far-reaching consequences, not just for ourselves, but for everyone impacted by our decisions. Pilate's story is frequently utilized in educational and ethical discussions as a vivid example of why acting with justice and courage is so critically important. Pilate's wavering and ultimate capitulation to external pressures vividly illustrate how an absence of moral fortitude can result in deeply regrettable and disastrous outcomes. The cautionary tale of Pilate's decisions resonates across many aspects of life, from the realm of politics to individual moral choices, emphasizing the need to remain steadfast in the pursuit of truth and justice. Pilate is often examined as a case study in discussions about ethics and leadership, serving as a compelling example of the critical role integrity plays in positions of authority. Pilate's failures act as a cautionary lesson against complacency and the temptation to follow the easiest path, especially when it comes at the cost of moral principles. Pilate's story urges us to critically examine our own decisions and to embrace the responsibility of acting justly, even when subjected to immense external pressure. Even in today's world, the story of Pontius Pilate continues to carry profound relevance, resonating across cultures and contexts. Even in today's world, the story of Pontius Pilate continues to carry profound relevance, resonating across cultures and contexts. Pilate's tragic legacy serves as a powerful reminder that truth must be upheld, even when confronted with immense pressure and significant adversity. In modern debates about leadership and ethics, Pilate's story is frequently cited as a lens through which to explore the challenges of maintaining moral integrity amidst intense political and societal pressures. His narrative stands as a cautionary tale, warning against the perils of being complicit with injustice, especially during critical moments of crisis. The lasting resonance of Pilate's story underscores the timeless and universal significance of the moral lessons it conveys, transcending cultural and historical boundaries. Pilate's actions, or lack thereof, are frequently invoked in discussions on justice and human rights, serving as a poignant example of how inaction can lead to dire and far-reaching consequences. Pilate's memory remains a constant reminder of the critical need for moral courage and the necessity of standing unwaveringly for the truth. The continued relevance of Pilate's story in modern times highlights the universal and timeless nature of the ethical conflicts he grappled with, inspiring us to actively pursue justice and righteousness in our daily lives. The character of Pontius Pilate has been extensively explored in popular culture, including films, theatrical productions, and literary works. Across these mediums, Pilate is depicted in a variety of ways, ranging from a calculated antagonist to a tragic figure ensnared by his circumstances. These diverse portrayals sustain a deep fascination with Pilate, a man whose actions had an enduring impact on the trajectory of human history. Films like The Passion of the Christ and Jesus of Nazareth depict Pilate as a nuanced character, emphasizing the intricate layers of his personality and decision-making. In literary works, Pilate often takes center stage, embodying themes of authority, justice, guilt, and the enduring quest for redemption. Through popular culture, Pilate's story remains alive and relevant, fostering fresh interpretations and deeper understandings of his role in the events of history. These portrayals highlight how the character of Pilate continues to captivate and hold significance for contemporary audiences. Pilate's character is also a staple in countless Easter theatrical productions globally, where his part in the Passion narrative is continually re-examined and reimagined. The varied portrayals of Pilate in popular culture reflect shifting societal values and perspectives, showcasing how each generation reinterprets his character in light of its own moral and cultural context. Pilate continues to be a pivotal figure in debates surrounding power, morality, and the repercussions of human choices, affirming his enduring significance in contemporary culture. The memory of Pontius Pilate endures in Christian traditions and remains firmly embedded in the collective consciousness of humanity. His story serves as a compelling testament to both the capacity for influence and the inherent fragility of human nature. Pilate is remembered not only for the actions he took, but also for the opportunities he missed, particularly his failure to display the courage to defend truth and uphold justice. By being explicitly mentioned in the Nicene Creed and prominently featured in the Passion narratives, Pilate's role is solidified as a central element of Christian remembrance and theology. Pilate's narrative is widely used in both religious teachings and educational discussions as a means of exploring themes of morality, ethical responsibility, and the consequences of choices. The memory of Pilate serves as a lasting reminder of the immense challenges faced by those in authority and the critical importance of making fair and just decisions, even under pressure. Within many traditions, Pilate has come to symbolize how fear and a lack of moral courage can result in decisions that are both ethically and historically catastrophic. Pilate's story also invites reflection on the nature of judgment and accountability, illustrating the intricate and often conflicting forces that shaped his choices. Pilate's actions, culminating in the condemnation of Jesus, are frequently analyzed from both a historical perspective and as a case study in leadership and ethical decision-making. The legacy of Pilate serves as a stark warning about the necessity of acting with both integrity and courage, reinforcing that our decisions often carry profound and enduring consequences. The story of Pontius Pilate continues to exert a profound influence on the Christian faith, shaping its theology and moral teachings. Pilate's narrative challenges us to critically examine our own roles within society and the responsibility we bear in the decisions we make. Pilate stands as a tragic figure, whose life and ultimate demise continue to serve as both a source of inspiration and a sobering, cautionary tale. Within Christian theology, Pilate's character is often used to explore profound themes such as sin, the possibility of redemption, and the pursuit of justice. Pilate's involvement in the crucifixion of Jesus is essential to comprehending the depth of Christ's sacrifice and the broader message of salvation in Christian doctrine. The enduring legacy of Pilate is a powerful testament to the significance of his decisions and the invaluable lessons his story offers to humanity. Pilate's life is frequently invoked in educational settings as a poignant example of the critical importance of responsibility and unwavering integrity in leadership and decision-making. Pilate's actions exemplify the corrupting influence of power and the devastating consequences that can arise from a failure to act with moral bravery. Pilate's story continues to challenge us to evaluate our own decisions and reminds us of our duty to act justly, even when faced with overwhelming pressure and adversity. Pilate's influence on the Christian faith is both profound and enduring. His story serves as an ongoing reminder of the necessity of seeking truth and justice under all circumstances, while also highlighting the transformative power of redemption and forgiveness. Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who played a key role in authorizing the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, remains one of history's most complex and tragic figures. His narrative intertwines themes of political authority, overwhelming guilt, and deep-seated remorse. Reflecting on Pilate's life and eventual demise compels us to recognize the critical importance of standing by what is right and confronting the truth, no matter how challenging or unpopular the path may be. The tragedy of Pilate's story serves as an enduring reminder that every action carries consequences and that the unwavering pursuit of justice and truth should always take precedence in our lives. Pilate's character reflects the moral and ethical struggles we all face, urging us to navigate life with integrity and to summon the courage to do what is right, regardless of the circumstances. The story of Pilate invites us to examine our responsibilities and to contemplate the far-reaching implications of the choices we make, both in the present and for generations to come. His narrative teaches the enduring power of redemption and the necessity of seeking the truth, even when that pursuit is fraught with difficulty or goes against popular opinion. Pilate's legacy continues to resonate deeply in our collective conscience, standing as a vivid reminder that the pursuit of justice and truth should always remain our foremost priorities. When we reflect on Pilate's life and the tragic choices he made, we are confronted with a challenge to evaluate our own actions and to embrace our duty to act with fairness and integrity, no matter the pressures or obstacles we encounter. We've now come to the conclusion of this video, and we sincerely hope you found it engaging and thought-provoking. If you're seeking inspiration, deeper knowledge, and a sense of spiritual connection, we encourage you to seize this opportunity. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button now. Be sure to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments to help us grow and strengthen our community. If you'd like to support our efforts in bringing meaningful religious stories that inspire and touch hearts, consider becoming a member of our channel. Together, we can create positive change and continue to enrich our shared spiritual journey. Your support means the world to us, and we're counting on you to be part of this mission. To join as a channel member, simply follow the link provided in the description below. Keep exploring more of our videos to dive deeper into the fascinating history of the Bible. You'll find 2 video recommendations on the screen now to guide you on your next step. May God bless you abundantly. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.